Hello, I'm Robert Bazeley-Harris. I currently work in London. I've been working in the fashion industry for about 18 years and have a pattern cutting background. And I have been working at my current position at All Saints for about 7 years and using Browzwear for about a year and a half. I chose to showcase the auto lock feature because it was initially something that I didn't quite understand, and then once I got a little more insight into kind of how it worked, played around with it a little bit myself, I found that it was really useful for adding pieces without messing up any styling you've done already. So it's a good way of protecting the work you've already done. You can see that I have a Hawaiian shirt into the 2D workspace. And I have already created stitching relationships between the pieces for the garment. So I'm going to prepare that garment. Here you can see all the pieces positioned correctly, and I'm just about to simulate that garment, dress that garment. And immediately we can see the garment is dressing nicely, but if we look closely, we can kind of see that the collar isn't quite falling as well as it should. I think there's some collision there, and the piece is actually behind the collar of the shirt. So there's a way we can improve this simulation by using the auto lock function. So I'll just stop the simulation. Let's take away the collar piece, and I'm going to go back to the prepared pieces, and I'm actually going to remove the collar and collar stand from the 3D workspace and dress those independently. So I'm going to switch on the auto lock feature within the styling button, and what that's going to enable me to do is to dress the garment, and once that's dressed, it's going to freeze any styling I do in place before I add new pieces. I very much like to simulate garments in stages to enable me to kind of build up the layers that kind of make a garment. So you can see I've just simulated the main body, and I'm just pulling back the collar section to create a nice looking neckline. I'll stop the simulation there. So making sure that auto lock is switched on, I'm now going to reintroduce the collar stand. So we'll bring this layer back in first by clicking the Use 3D button. That will bring it into the 3D workspace, and we've got those little white crosshairs on the rest of the garment, which will tell us that that pattern piece is locked and won't move when we bring in and simulate new pieces. So I'm just simulating the collar stand, making sure that looks nice, which I think it looks pretty good. And then I can do the same thing with the collar to bring in the collar piece and check that's in the right position, maybe adjust it slightly and simulate that as well. And we can immediately see that the collar is starting to sit a lot more naturally as we would want it to sit on a real body if we were making this garment in real life. At this stage, I would definitely make sure that I take the auto lock feature off by deselecting the button. And I would also use the hamburger menu to select all the pieces and uncheck the lock box. Then I just re-simulate to let everything fall where it should. And then at this point, I would be ready to kind of showcase this to my designer and make sure that they're happy before I prepare it to be sent off to one of our factories. So that is it. I hope that will be useful to you when you're creating garments. I certainly found it useful, and thank you very much for watching, and keep making products.